Send out the tweets, mute the Twitch page, walk on screen, because that's kind of important. And I think we're good. So, hello everyone, this is Chris Ingerson, and it is August 17th, and this is the August 17th Text Quest Devstream. So, today, we're going to be doing what I was planning on doing on Tuesday, and then got sidetracked, which is setting up a basic interaction in the Heroes Grove level for torches. Now, I do not currently have those torches modeled, so we're actually going to use some very old models. I'm hoping they're still in the game. I'm pretty sure they're still in the game. They are. Okay. So we're going to use some models from... Oh boy. No, that's not the right one. Hold on. Oh, you know what? I bet it is, and I bet that it's because I stretched it. Okay. So we're going to use a... Oh, no, I lied. It's here. Ah! So we're going to use a very old model, as in one of the first models that I made for Text Quest. And that means that it's over 4 years old at this point. Oh, that's kind of depressing. But yeah, we're going to be using this sort of older model for now. If we get to a good spot by the end of the stream today, I might go ahead and model one out, a new one, because unlike the massive textures that were our relief textures that we worked on Tuesday, the torch texture is fortunately not one I really need to change, and it's one that's kind of basic, so don't have to worry about it too much. So, in any case, we're going to start off by doing a quick asset export, because I finished up modeling our... I'll go ahead and actually switch over to ProBuilder Dev. Alright, so I finished modeling our legend bases here, and I've also finished the texture for them. So we no longer have to worry about those, but I do have to export them because there was a problem with their light maps, I guess. It was probably just a weird thing that ProBuilder does occasionally, where some objects just don't get their light maps. Oh, hold on. Polybrush is acting up. There we go. So sometimes it's a weird thing that happens, but sometimes the UV2s that you generate for objects with ProBuilder just disappear. I don't know why they do that, but that just seems to be how it is. So all we gotta do is just generate UV2s, and then we'll be fine. And then we'll go ahead and export these two things. So ProBuilder, export asset. Let's see, we're gonna go to ProBuilder saved assets, Overworld Grove, Legend, and we'll just export them here. And then there they are. So let's go ahead and move these guys into their respective folders. All right, now we can go back to the actual scene. Let's see here. I want Grove. There we go. Oh, and before I forget, I want Grove. Good. Making sure. I'm paranoid now for pretty much everything I do. Let's see here. So I want to open this up, and here we go. So we're just going to drag those assets in. We're going to put you here, I believe. Ah, dang it. Wrong one. Thank you for whoever followed. Oh, wait, no. That's the host. Thank you, William. I really got to get that stuff working. In any case, so let's go ahead and position these two things, and let's go ahead and duplicate that, move this one down here. We're going to call this one Legend Left. Zero out its position in rotation. Call this one Legend Center, or Centi, I guess. And then the far right one, Legend Right. Legend Right. Alright, then we're going to move them out from under their game objects that I placed there so that I could just easily move them again. Alright, so I'm not going to worry about baking the map, or baking the light map again. Let's see. Weird, I was just jumping through a portal in Manifold Garden. Now I'm here. Weird. I've heard that tends to happen. It's a strange phenomenon. Well, in either case, welcome Ryan Blood and Chris Zorg. This is Text Quest. It is a first-person text-based adventure. Not quite the same as a dang it. Oh, I'm sorry, William. Why can't I think of the name? Oh, this kills me. Why can't... You know that thing when you are under immense pressure to impress people and then you immediately forget what you were going to say? Oh well, abstractionist painting is what I was thinking, and for some reason I can't think of it. I apologize. I'm a Philistine. I can't think of it. In any case, MC Escher. There it was. Haha! Now I remembered. Not quite that, but similar, I guess. A manifold first-person roguelike shooter. Oh man, that would be intense. Alright, I'm going to switch back to my generic dev layout. And we're just going to quickly attach some colliders to these things. And actually, before we do that, let's go ahead and copy our ground script. Copy component. And we're going to paste that stuff on. So we're going to add a... not physics 2D. Physics mesh collider. Then paste component as new. There we go. So now if we die for some reason from fall damage, somehow, on the legends, they'll actually give you the appropriate message. In any case, so today is going to be a fairly, I don't want to say simple or trivial, but not nearly as complex as Tuesdays. We're just going to focus somewhat on code and some wonderful fire particle effects. Hello, Claryl? I want to say Claryl. So what we are currently working on is the Heroes Grove level. Specifically, we are going to light some torches on fire, or make it so that you can light some torches on fire. It is very literal. Alright, so let me go ahead and grab the torch. Our wonderful, and by wonderful I mean very terrible, old torch prefab that I really need to change. Oh wow, it's super tiny. Yeah, this is a very, very old prefab that we are eventually going to replace, but for now we're just going to reuse it because that would be faster than me modeling a live model on the stream. So let's go ahead and... Wow, it's already scaled up. Ugh. Alright, let's scale it up by 6 and 3 and 6. Wow, we got to go even bigger than that, huh? Alright, double. So 12 and 6 and 12. That might be too big. Okay. Actually, I think that's about right, width and height. But does the game include very many puns? Well, I can neither confirm nor deny that, but I would say don't be surprised if there's a lot of puns. Claryl, okay. Oh, Claire Ill, okay. So there are two different emphases. Claire Ill. Okay. Yeah, I'm terrible with pronouncing names, so I always feel bad when someone comes on with a name that I can't pronounce. In any case, I'm going to... 4? Yeah, it's going to look squashed and stretched, but that's fine for now. Let's just go ahead and pop into the game and see what that looks like. I'm willing to bet terrible, but you know, that's probably because it hasn't had its light map baked. So... Let's hope that it doesn't take too long for me to actually get to play. There we go. Weird. Oh man. The light map bake that I did yesterday is completely borked. Ugh. So nasty. Well, in any case. So, it's fine. Oh yeah. I'm willing to bet that whole interaction information has been blown away. Well, okay. So we can't actually do anything with that. We're going to have to pull that information up. Go ahead and pull that over here. So for those of you who are new, if you have more than one emphasis, does it make it an emphasize? See, that's what I'm not sure. It's Latin, or is that Greek? Would it be emphases or emphasi? I think it's emphases. In any case. So for those of you who are new, TextQuest is a first-person text-based adventure, and the way everything works is I have these massive spreadsheets online with all of the information for an object. So let's go ahead to design, interactions. I'm actually curious if I even have objects. Well, I do have one for torches. I don't know how up to date this is. Oh boy, it is not. Oh yeah, okay, so we need a new one for this. We're gonna duplicate this. Infisorp. I think that's the it sounds like the past indicative version of it. Uh, oh yeah, and for those of you who are new, if you're curious about the actual gameplay for the game, since obviously I'm doing development right now, um, there is a demo up on the website, which is linked below my video, and it's free. So if you're curious, feel free to give that a shot. Let's see. We're gonna move this into Overworld. Move this into Heroes Grove. And we're probably just going to archive a lot of this stuff. So I'm going to say archive. I'm going to move a lot of this into there. And then I'm just going to go ahead and go into here. All right, so this is going to be for our torch. Should I have this be the torch? So the way that this is going to work is it's meant to be kind of a very cheesy, almost stereotypical legend. So it's going to say, you can see here that we have some carvings and reliefs on what is supposed to happen. So it's, let me see if I can remember the actual legend offhand that I wrote. You have to light the torch, or when the hero approaches, the torches of valor and courage will light up, or will ignite. And once they are ignited, the sword can be pulled from the stone. And the idea is that it's supposed to imply that, you know, if you're a hero and you walk onto it, it'll just burst into flames. But they obviously just never intended for someone to just try and light the torches themselves. So the solution for the puzzle is actually kind of simple. But I don't know, I find it funny just to subvert a legend by merely lighting the torches. Kind of a Gordanian knot situation. Infizorp, is that Klingon? No, that's definitely not Klingon. There are too many vowels in that. Klingons don't use vowels. They're too soft and weak. Let's see here. So, we're just going to go ahead and make a basic torch torch object. So let's see, we're going to have names for torch. That's probably fine. Torches for a plural name. We'll say a wooden torch. Yeah. We'll just say a large torch. We're very creative here. I guess that means that my adjectives need to be large. Text color, all that stuff's fine. We don't need the container, so we're going to go ahead and delete this. But yeah, anyway, as I was saying before, Torch of Lightning. That actually would be pretty funny. There is a item that you get halfway through, well, not really halfway, kind of early on in the game that lets you cast spells, although you do have to learn how to cast spells. So that would be pretty funny. So no, the way the spreadsheet stuff works is I actually wrote an add-on. Oh, that's interesting. That's new. I wrote an add-on for Google Spreadsheets that lets me export all of my sheets as JSON. So I just download like a massive JSON blob, and then I import that file. So it's not quite as complex as pulling it all live, mostly because I didn't want to be tinkering around with stuff while people were playing the game. I prefer to work in sort of more of a wave-based format. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. The lighting really does need a pass. On certain monitors, it looks fine. Like on my monitor, it looks fine to me. But I have noticed that I need to get some sort of like gamma correction in there, just because on other monitors it can be really, really dark. So that's definitely something I need to work on. In any case, so let's see. We're gonna go ahead and delete. You can't climb on the torch. It's not a door. But yeah, I store sort of a template of everything in these sub tabs, or just regular tabs, I guess. And then I export everything as a massive JSON blob, pull that in. Then I have a JSON parser that parses that all out, and then that lets me just have one single file that I can do everything with. And the other reason that I have to do it that way is I'm planning on supporting custom games, which means that people need to be able to create their own data sets for their objects. So I need to be able to make it in a format that is easy to move around, basically. Let's see, it's not a switch. It's not a switch directions. Not a switch lever. Or a combinable switch. Too many switches. And it's not a character or an enemy. Or an item. Or a map. We're almost done with all the things that it's not. And it's not a weapon. So there we go. Okay. Now, before we actually do anything, I'm going to select this. It is a torch object, which this is going to be fun because I'm pretty sure that this is a Oh boy. This is a script that I wrote a long time ago. I am quite scared of it. Yeah, you could do some interesting stuff with that, like the truck does, messing with the live run at GDC. Or yeah, ha! That actually is pretty funny. Game's done quick, being messed with. Yeah, I mean, there's stuff that I'd like to try and do for things like Twitch integrations to try and let people do things, like type things in as suggestions, maybe. But on the whole, I haven't really experimented too much with fun ways for me to adjust the game on the fly. Does the sun shine in your game? Currently, not right now. It will in the future, but I've been trying to think of how to effectively show the sun. I mean, obviously, it's going to say sun, and I think I actually do have a texture for the sun, but I haven't quite figured out how to make it look good. Just because I don't want it to be like a yellow thing in the sky. I already have clouds in the sky, and those are good enough there, but I want the sun to be something that's more notable. So I think we're just going to leave this as is for now. I'm not going to worry about changing this. I'm actually curious if... Oh man, some of this stuff might be hidden actually. Yep. Ugh. Okay, so we might do a little bit of custom scripting, or custom editor scripting tonight. All right. Let's see here. So we're just going to go ahead and quickly fill this stuff in. So we're going to get text, oops, text only for a lot of this stuff. We're going to do default fails for most of it. Going to do this quick and dirty. We can just leave that as is. And let's see. Eat, drink, open, close, unlock. Light is the one that we need. We can leave that as default. Extinguish. We'll leave that as default as well. So default fail. And these defaults and default fails just are markers for when I parse stuff out to say, like, replace this text with a default text. Let's see here. Don't want to do read. We want to do examine. We'll just go ahead and say the torch looks like it is very old. Riveting. Okay. Speaking of puns, I do need to come up with a pun to insult it. I think I already have this pun in the game, but it was recently suggested to me by someone, so I'll go ahead and do you tell the object name that it isn't very bright. Oh yes, and you can insult everything in the game, by the way. And it will give you a terrible pun, so I guess I did lie. I will admit that there are puns in the game. But you can insult everything, and it'll give you a pun ranging from terrible to okay. I think this is all we really need for our current tests. So, yeah, I think I'm just going to leave this. So let's go ahead and export our file. Let's see, we're going to want to say unwrap single row sheets. We don't want to force string values. Export cell arrays. Export sheet arrays. Let's see, and everything else should be fine. I'll visualize this real quick to make sure. But yes. Oh! Well, thank you. That is the first that's the first bit I've gotten, because this is my first stream as a Twitch affiliate. So thank you. That's super exciting for me. Anyway, so if you're actually curious, if you're doing anything with spreadsheets for your own games, if you guys are developers, or if you're just doing anything with data on Google Sheets, oh, thank you, Sky. It makes me feel so special. But yeah, if you guys are doing anything with Google Sheets and exporting data, I actually do recommend giving this my add-on a go. It's free, so, but I feel like I should talk about it because I made it. So obviously I'm biased. In any case, everything looks fine, so I'm going to go ahead and close that and then export it. So this will export a JSON file that we can then just pull into Unity really easily. Boop. All right, let's see. I probably should put this somewhere sensible. And that means it's going right by the prefab for now. So let's see. We're going to go ahead and grab here, show in folder. Just going to drop. There we go. Eye the Jungle? That made no sense. Oh, yeah, if you're curious about the Google Sheet add-on, you can just go to add-ons and then get add-ons. And then just search. I'm guessing ESD would probably do it. Aw, it won't. Fine. Export sheet data. There you go. But it's free. And it's been like 3.95 stars for a long time, and I'm very frustrated at that fact because there's like 2 review scores at the very beginning that were 1 stars because of a minor error that I fixed really quick. But then it's like, no, those 1 stars are with me forever. Oh well. In any case, let's go ahead and update our torch. So let's drag that in, and we're going to hit update. Clear all this, make sure that I... Okay, good, no errors. I probably should drag this over. Aha! So now we have all of our verbs, and now if we wanted to, we can actually go up to it and interact with it. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to run up here. Aha! Thank you. I should really get that thing fixed. Thank you, Chris. Anyway, so now we can actually interact with this if we want. So we can do like examine. The torch looks like it is very old. We can do hit, which I guess we can't do because we never defined that. We can insult it. All right. And if we had our lamp in here, we could actually light it on fire. So, although actually, I forgot to make it so that it needs a lamp. So actually, I bet we could light this on fire just by telling it to light itself on fire. Yeah, the whole JSON add-on or JSON export thing is because I looked to see if there was a tool on Google Sheets that did it, and yep, yeah, we need to change that so it's actually got a. So we actually need to use our lantern to light it. But for now, this is fine. Thank you. Thank you, Claire Ill. But yeah, I have to say I'm pretty proud of the JSON stuff. So that's basically the simple interaction that you have to do to get the torch lit. Now, the actual thing, we're going to actually fix that real quick because we don't want it to just be you can light it with your mind. You need to actually be able to have an item that will light it. So we need to go over here to required items, and we're going to say lantern, I believe was the ID. The verb is light. The output is default. We're going to leave data ID and require equip will be true. And always require will also be true. All right. And let's go ahead and replace existing files. We're going to download that file again. Yeah, sometimes you just can't light stuff on fire with your mind, which is like I want to say it's the #1 thing that people try to do in the game is just burn everything. And I'm actually kind of sad because in the demo, which is actually the first 2 levels of the game, you can't really burn anything because you don't have a lantern. You don't have anything that you can light stuff on fire with. But later on, once you get the lantern, there's a lot of stuff that you can just burn arbitrarily. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes you can. I try to keep it a good balance to make it fun. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and come over here. We're going to open this up, show and explorer. That way we can just replace it. Torch, drag that over here. Replace. Delete, and there we go. Yes, WebDocs. The fire is the most realistic part of the game, no doubt. And don't worry about not knowing game dev stuff, Sky. I mean, I barely know it. I just try my best. Or like the way I like to describe it is I roll my head across the keyboard, and then hopefully something works. But more often than not, there are topics that I just don't know about. Although I am getting much better, at least much better than I did, or than I was a year ago, and way better than I was 2 or 3 years ago. In any case, so now if we go ahead and update that, I'm going to save that, and now if we try to light the torch, it should say you can't do that, or what would you like to light the torch with? Thank you again, Sky. You are currently the all-time record holder for cheers on my channel. All right, so now if we type light, it's going to ask us what we would like to light the torch with, and I don't really have anything, so I could say like hands, and I can't really do that because my hand isn't magic. So yeah, I haven't actually looked into how the bit system works. Is it like a weird currency thing that you buy from Twitch, or is it something that they just give you um, to give out to other channels as you see fit? Let's see. Even watching streams like this puts you above 99% of people in terms of knowledge. Well, I can definitely tell you that your puns will improve. That's a lie. I can't tell you that. Your puns will probably get worse by watching this stream. Um, let's see. So I'm actually going to go ahead and just drag the torch into the scene. Not torch, sorry, lantern. Let's see. Should be this, and let's really hope. Okay, look. Yes! It looks like everything's. Uh-oh. That's super weird. Huh. What the heck is going on with my custom inspector there? That is super awkward. Okay. I'm going to drag that into the scene, and I need to apparently look at my custom inspector for this. So let's see here. Editor, lantern editor. So we're going to do a little bit of custom inspector editing real quick. Draw script field, draw buttons. Okay. Yeah, I did. I mean, I did a quick cursory glance at all of the bit stuff. Thank you again. But I haven't actually figured out all of the affiliate stuff because that literally just got finalized yesterday. In any case, I think I just need to change this to. Let's go to definition here. I probably want this to be 4. And I think that will fix my problem. Alright. Kappa is better than bits? Is that a kappa? For some reason, all I can think of for kappa is like the actual kappas. I'm pretty sure that that's not what you mean. Alright, I need to grab that. Okay, that's super weird. Ugh. I don't know what happened here. Well, whatever. It's fine. Just because our custom editor doesn't look super nice doesn't mean anything. So I should be able to pick this up, assuming that it's actually in the level. I can look at it. We're going to put that right there. And I'm also going to move my spawn point up so that I no longer have to keep running all the way here. Shroop. Alright, so we'll spawn like right next to it. I program in C#, that is correct. Yeah, I originally programmed, well actually no, TextQuest has always been C#. I did start out with, not talk, take. Alright, let's go ahead and hold and light lamp. Okay. I actually don't remember if I can, let's see, extinguish. I don't remember if I can light it when the lamp's off. Ah, dang it, you can. Well, we gotta change that. So the lantern should have to be lit before you can actually light stuff on fire. Probably also need to change how our light works here, because there's a point light that's casting a little bit of light, but I might just change it so that the fire particles have light attached to them. I might make it more visually interesting. Yeah, C#, I mean, JavaScript is fine when you're starting out, and it's certainly much easier to program in, but C# has just, it's just better in my opinion. It's cleaner to look at, it's more efficient, and you get some nice stuff in your coding environments that you don't get with JavaScript. In any case, so let's go ahead and check out our torch object. And actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and grab my torch inspector. We're going to fix that real quick. Torch inspector. So I don't think, oh no, I do, right there. Draw torch inspector. That's what? I didn't see that. Yeah, that is not a thing. It is not a customized. Yeah, torch. Oh, right. That's for the torch, not the torch object. That could be why. Torch. Okay. Yes, that looks correct. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in debug mode. Grab our fire effect. Ooh, particles. There we go. I actually don't know which of these two is the correct one. This is the problem with working with code that's fairly old. These are things that I just haven't really done in a while. I'm guessing it's this one because this one actually has audio. Yeah, there we go. Oh, no, I know what this is. Okay, I lied. That torch is not the correct thing. That torch is a kind of a different thing. I'm gonna go ahead and remove that. For now, we're not going to worry about it then, because that means that I need to clean up my scripting. Let's see. Are you making trees transparent so the leaves float like fire? I am. There is transparency on the leaves, so if we come look at it, you can see that they float over. Ha. Yeah, it's actually kind of hard to do leaves, and you can see that there are different tree designs. Well, there's one tree design for the trees that are 3D, and then there's a flat design that's meant to be just something that you can see but not interact with. But it's actually surprisingly difficult to get a decent design out of this, just because the text can make it very difficult to have something that looks right. And I have rules with my textures where everything has to be legible, no matter what you're looking or what direction you're looking at it from. So it can be actually pretty difficult to design textures that look right. Uh, yes, it did used to say early 2017, um, but that was impossible. That was the fever dream of a madman, and I don't know how I ever thought that would happen. Actually, it was. I honestly do need to get a little bit better at scheduling things because I tend to fall into the camp of when it's done as opposed to when it's, I guess, when it should probably ship. In any case, we're going to go ahead and we're going to move the lantern, or not the lantern, the torch. So we're going to have two torches. Keep the lantern in the center here. And now we have to do stuff with our Grove Manager. All right. So what we're going to need to do here is we need to basically listen for our torch objects to become lit. And I guess the big thing here is... I think we might actually need to have an event for when these are lit. But that might be pointless. Not very many things need to know when a torch is lit. Well, let me know what you think of the demo, WebDocs. I always like to hear, or WebBox. I don't know why I kept reading that as WebDocs. WebBox. I got it. One day I will be able to actually read people's names correctly. You beat me to it, Claire. I was about to say that, actually. Yeah, Shigeru Miyamoto's quote on that is one of the reasons why I guess I wouldn't say okay with delaying it for so long, but I don't feel really bad about it. Because I know that there's a lot of polish that I need to put in here, and I need to make interactions feel very good still. And that's something that I don't quite have nailed down all the way yet. Oh yeah, yep. This is a super old script. Oh, it's painful to look at. So this script is old enough that I was doing same line braces, and I have since evolved my coding style to not do that for short if statements. So now I don't use braces for very short if statements like that. Although I'm not a monster, I don't do it like that. Ugh. Same line only. My goal, or my last goal, is to beat streamers to the thing they're about to say. Well, you're apparently succeeding at that goal. Okay, so we might just code this from scratch. for the third time. I know that sounds bad, but honestly, it will probably be better if we do it that way. Okay, so I'm going to... God, am I even using this torch? No, I am using that torch somewhere. So if I actually look up torch, let's just go here. Find all references. I believe... Really? Oh, well, okay then. So then maybe we can just rewrite torch. Okay, well then, we're just going to do that. Let's see here. So we have a fire effect, which I believe is just particles. Oh right, it actually hurts you when you stand in it. I forgot about that. Yeah, okay. So we might keep that system in place. But I think we can use... I'm trying to think about how we want to expand on this. We can use particle effects and lights, but we might actually just roll that into our fire effect. That would make sense. Yes, fire does hurt. Fire hurt very much. Yeah, there's typically I try to behave along what's expected from adventure games, where it's really hard to die. And I find that standing in a fire pit for a while is a very hard way to die. So I'm fine with just letting people die if they stand in fire for too long. For the most part, it is a more adventure game through and through, where it's very difficult to die normally. But I give you clear indications that if you're doing something like that, it's going to kill you. So let's see here. So I'm going to go ahead and grab actually fire effect. I'm going to go to definition, pull that over. And fire effect is basically a class that, and forgive me because this is a 4-year-old class at this point, so I got to remember how it works exactly. But if I remember correctly, it's basically just a class that has a light that it can flicker, then a particle system that it will play, and then a collider that is just something that determines when the player gets hurt. The game over quip is very so it sometimes it gives you a pun. I think fall damage gives you puns based on the surface that you fell on. I think the most pervasive one right now is the ground might not like you, but you were dying to meet it. I know, terrible puns. Just like the burn pun. But yes, there are quite a few game over quips meant to kind of poke fun at the fact that you died the way you did. So let's see here. I think we can actually just keep this class for now. I don't think I really need to do anything with it. So yeah, that's how old this was. This was before I really knew how to use time.delta time properly. Oh man, I hate looking at really old code. They are really punishing. I'm not gonna lie, the puns they're quite punishing. Okay, so we're gonna actually change and revamp this entire torch system, and we're just going to have public fire effect. I guess I'll make that an array because there could be situations where I have more than one fire effect per torch that you light, like if it's a super fancy 4-prong torch or something. So let's go ahead and say fire effects equal to new fire effect 0. All right, and I'm making this an array just because I don't really need to search through them. I'm just going to need to access them all at once. So usually if I have to search through stuff, I'll make it a list. All right, so we don't really care too much about lights or particles, but we'll keep them in for now, just so that I don't have to get rid of that editor stuff yet. Is lit audio, is lit as a bool right now. I wonder if I should, oh, I guess I just have these functions ignite and extinguish. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and go to, where is it? Torch object. There we go. Can't light message. Okay, we're going to need that. And I guess we're going to need can light as well. So we're just going to isolate these things for now. I'm going to say public bool can light is equal to, we'll say is equal to true by default. Hello, Hearthful. Welcome to the Devstream. Oh man, today I gotta say, guys, I'm actually having like a really good stream. This is a really good stream so far until I inevitably do something that's very stupid. But for now, I'm really enjoying it. I have not had this many people in the stream. I don't think ever really. So thank you very much for stopping by, everyone. Tooltip. This is something that I do suggest. If you're doing anything with Unity, look into the tooltip attribute. It makes your life super easy if you're working on stuff with other people, because the tooltip attribute basically lets you just have a little message that you can show people when they hover over that variable. So we'll say, can the torch be lit by the player? Let that compile. Then we'll come down here. This is actually going to be a text area. Just do that. So to show you what I mean, let's grab our torch. Oh, right. Except we actually have to change our custom inspector for now. I'm going to get rid of this custom inspector for now. Just going to comment that out. Yeah, that would really be nice. By the way, welcome, Garrett. Welcome back. Oh, geez. Yeah, so the God Ray stuff for lights, I'm actually looking into a volumetric lighting tool set, but I just haven't gotten around to it. That's one of those things that it's on my list of things to do, but it's not a huge priority just because it's not a big gameplay thing. But it definitely is something that I need to do. So I am working on something like that. But that is a cool mockup. Thank you, Chris. Yeah, I do wish that you could just do XML comments, though. That would make things way easier. In any case, so we're going to go ahead and get rid of torch object here. So we're going to say, we'll keep that on, actually, for now. We'll just go ahead and apply torch. Right. We can never get away from this because it's actually going to use... Oh, right. Let's drag all this stuff in. Get rid of you. Okay. Get rid of this one. I forgot that these are using derived custom inspectors, so like nothing I do will make it work, which means that I have to just do debugs, which is rather annoying because I don't think debugs actually show the text. Oh wait, no, here we go. Yep, debugs don't show you the nice fancy tooltip stuff. Sigh. Well, we'll get that in when we do our custom inspector stuff. Yeah. Next thing I know, you're gonna be telling me that I need to add excessive bloom to my game, though. Got to get that Oblivion lighting going. All right. So we'll go ahead and update. It's gonna do everything regularly. So all of our verbs and stuff are populated. Let's go ahead and let's see here. Let's go to torch. I'm gonna get rid of torch object. I don't think I really care about anything else. Oh man. That tells you how early it was. I spelled ignite wrong. That's painful. Not gonna look at that. I really hope I didn't spell it wrong here. Oh, good, I didn't. Whew. Bloom plus ambient occlusion. Yeah, I need to do a. I'm not doing any post processing right now. So that's one of the reasons why the game is kind of little in terms of its aesthetic. Well, not its aesthetic, but its presentation. I figured my plan with the lighting passes and all that was near the end of development. I would actually start looking at post-process effects to make the game look better. But for now, it's one of those things that's been hard to do just because it's very time-consuming. Also, admittedly, I do have a personal bias against Bloom. I don't really like it that much. Okay. So Oh yeah, and definitely Webbox. We need some motion blur in there. Oh man, that's another thing that I turn off most often in my options menus. All right, so we have can't light message, and fire effects. And the can't light message is just what gets shown when you try to light a torch that you're not supposed to be able to light. Um, so we don't really need anything else besides that, but we are going to make some events. So we're going to say public delegate void uh, torch event. We'll go ahead and your lighting looks like you're using black to create shadows. I am, well, yeah, I'm not really doing anything besides just using a lack of light to create shadows, but it is in very dark areas. It's actually really annoying because in the castle level in particular, I originally had to crank the bounce lighting up a lot because there's no light in there. The light just does not travel very far in there. And it drives me nuts because I don't like how dark the throne room is, but I don't really know how to make it brighter without having bouncing on, and that washes out all the colors. So we're going to say public event, torch event, and we'll go ahead and say we'll have two torch events, one for lit and one for being extinguished. Torch lit is equal to delegate. Okay, then public event, torch event, torch extinguished equals delegate. I also don't like that I can't think of a shorter word than extinguished for putting things out. Technically, you have words like turn off, but I don't think that really makes sense. There's also, I guess, put out, but torch put out doesn't sound very cool. So, well, thank you, Chris. I forget. Did you tried the demo, right, Chris? Actually, you would have had to have, otherwise you wouldn't have made the dark comment. uh, what do you think so far, based on what you played? Because I always like to ask people, just to see if they got stuck anywhere or if there's any areas that they think I should change to help the game feel better. Motion blur is a bit of an odd beast. People grew accustomed to it, to the technical flaws of film, and so video doesn't have it. Yeah, see, that's kind of my understanding of motion blur is that it's meant to sort of smooth things out, but you don't really need that in your game most of the time because you want, like, ideally, if you were a person, you would want crystal clear vision all of the time. So I don't know. I've never understood motion blur, especially in action games, which is surprisingly where you see a lot of it. Am I doing tab to complete? Not not for the word suggestions. That's something that people have asked for, and I'm thinking about how to do it, just because it's hard to select the word that you want there, because it does offer suggestions for the words that you're typing. So to show you what I'm talking about, so I don't just vaguely gesticulate with my hands and then you guys can't see that. So, although I guess I do have my little pixel guy doing that. In any case, so when you're typing words out into the parser, it'll give you suggestions based on what you've typed. And something that people have asked for and tried is autocomplete. So let's say I'm looking for, you can see that after the second letter, we start getting suggestions. And as I type more, I get more suggestions, up to 3 currently. That's an arbitrary number, though. You can actually adjust that. But it is something that I need to figure out how to do autocomplete, or if I want to allow that, or if I want to allow you to just click on these or something. All right, well, thank you for stopping by, Chris. Have a good night. So, oh, yeah, that was not a word. So some people think that tab would work, but I'm honestly not sure because tab, I think, would either have to navigate your selections or actually select the top. So it's just hard to think through what would be the best choice design-wise. Heartful. Any release early access date? So optimistically, I'm saying next year for a release. I've been saying it's 60% done for the last like 2 years. But at this point, it actually is 60% done. I just have polish on the overworld and then the final third of the game to model and texture. But I can't say that I'm going to do early access. I don't think I am, just because I don't feel that this game is a good fit for early access. Because it's not a multiplayer game, it's not procedurally generated, it is a puzzle game. So short of some sort of soft launch for basically beta testing, I probably won't do early access. But tentatively next year, optimistically next year, more realistically, probably 2019. So it does take me a while because I'm not doing this full time. I have a full time job that I do, and then I come home and work on this at night. Yeah, when it's done. And yeah, I still have not seen The Hobbit. I need to, and I want to watch the 48 frames per second one because I want to see if all the kerfuffle about it um, was correct or not. A dictionary for cheating if you are stuck would be cool. Oh, actually, so I do have a hint system in. It's fairly new. In fact, I just added it for the last convention that I went to 2 weeks ago. So if you type hint, it'll give you a hint. Well, the first hint doesn't count. It'll tell you that it's the hint keeper and blah 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 blah. And then currently, it's not going to give you correct hints because it actually is a very structured hint system, similar to old school Sierra games. Um, but as you progress through the demo, although not the demo on the website, because the demo on the website is from last November, it's a little outdated now. Um, but yeah, there is a hint system in there. So if you ever get stuck, there will be a little thing that tells you sort of what you need to do. It won't tell you exactly what you need to do because that would be boring. But it will tell you a hint on what you need to do. But yeah, and on film, I'm actually curious for the 48 frames thing, just because we've had a century of conditioning for film where we expect it to be 24 frames, so we actually expect motion blur, which is what a lot of that uh, sort of what are the complaints for The Hobbit were. Get good. Yeah, there are puns. There are terrible. The entire first level actually is just a massive reference to a bunch of old school typists or typesetters and font creators or fontists. I think they're called typists or font setters, or typesetters. Anyway, people who make fonts. All right, so I should probably actually do stuff instead of talking. I'm terrible at multitasking. Um, so we're gonna go ahead and let's see, ignite lit lights. That's fine. So we're gonna say ignite. Actually, before we do that, we're gonna say if not is lit. Then we're gonna do all this stuff. That way we don't like double light things on fire. Then we're gonna say lit audio dot play. We are also going to want to say for int and loop through our fire effects. So we're going to say not for 9, for int I equals 0, I is less than fire effects. Oops, fire effects dot length I plus plus. Let's see. Yeah, watching The Hobbit was like finally moving from 30 to 60 FPS when playing games. It's night and day. Yeah, that's kind of what I theorized, but I haven't seen it, so I can't really say if I would like it or not. I can understand why people would not like it because of the century of conditioning. I mean, again, all of the film, well, not all, but most of the films up to that point were 24 frames. That's just what we established. So it's actually interesting just to see how people react to it. So we're going to say fire effects of I dot ignite, which I need to correct that spelling. There we go. I want to make sure that I'm spelling it correctly. Good. Yep. Oh, geez, that's so painful. Actually, so a little bit of fun trivia. The first convention I ever showed at, I had Ignite, and it was pretty much the only way. There was like two words at the time that could light things on fire, and Ignite was one of them, and it was spelled wrong. And it was pointed out to me on the show floor, and I was incredibly embarrassed. Uh, I just, it's a good thing that I'm making a game that doesn't require spelling, right? In any case, so that should light all of our effects on fire. We don't really care about this stuff. I'm actually just going to go ahead and delete it. And yeah, that's how I spelled it, but that's actually not how it's spelled. It is spelled I-G-N-I-T-E. But for some reason, the first time I spelled it, I thought it was spelled I-N or I-G-N-I-G-H-T, like ig and night. But that's not correct. All right, I think that's pretty much all we need to do. And then for our extinguish, we're going to say if is lit. Excuse me. Come down here. Make that big eye. You know what? We'll make it a little eye. Don't need to check against the big eye. And get rid of this. We're going to say lit audio dot stop. And then we will go ahead and loop through our fire effects and say fire effects dot extinguish. You know what? I might just move audio into our fire effects. I'm going to do that. All right. Oh, man. I guess I got to think about this. Should I? Yeah, I can do that. That won't be too bad. I'm a little worried that there might be torches that don't have fire effects attached to them, but I think it makes more sense to have the torches just have an arbitrary number of fire effects, and then the fire effects themselves can decide what they want to do. Whether they're going to hurt people with a collider of some kind, or if they're going to just light themselves and then have their light flicker or anything like that. So, all right, we're going to come down here, and at the end here, we're going to say torch extinguished. Oops, no L. And then up here, we're going to say torch lit. All right, so now we have basically the components that we need to get our Grove manager listening to the torches, although I do actually need to set up logic that will do this correctly, because I don't think there's anything right now that will call this. Find all references. What happened? There we go. Okay, so yeah. So I'm actually going to go ahead and open up torch object. And we're just going to, for now, steal its do verb, which I'm pretty sure is probably terrible, but we're going to just steal it anyway. I'm going to have to recode that at some point. Let's see. So there's going to be some minor changes. This is lit. If can light, we'll go ahead and say night. All right. If not is lit, and we'll say extinguish. Okay, I think that's all we really need to do right now. Let's go ahead and save that. Please add intro as enter to. What do you mean? Intro as enter. Yeah, can you clarify that? I don't know what you mean by that. Let's see here. So we have all of the logic set up. That should essentially do it. So, okay, I think we're good. Or at least we should be able to give this a try. Come over here. We don't have any... Compile. Well, while that's compiling, I'm going to take a drink. Oh, yeah. I've actually fixed that. So again, the demo that's on the website is from last November, and I have fixed that, so enter on the number pad will work now. That's one of those things where I just never thought about it, and then one day someone was trying to press enter there, and I'm like, oh yeah, that should probably work. Also, disclaimer, when I first started development on TextQuest, it was on my laptop, not on my desktop, so I didn't have a keyboard with a number pad enter sign, so it just never even occurred to me as a possibility. But now, yeah, enter works now. Okay, so this is, there's our fire effect. Everything else is fine, so let's go ahead and stop that. Come up here. We're going to have to go into debug mode for now. And we're just going to add fire to that. We don't care about anything else for now. And, yep, I think that's good. That's weird. Why are you empty? No, that's fine. So, let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and grab my Grove Manager. We're going to add 2 references to torches. Public, actually we're going to do 1 for now, just for testing purposes. And we're just going to say torch, and we're going to say torch valor. Okay, come down here, we're going to say override start, base.start, and we are also going to say private void on valor lit. Private void on valor, or valor extinguished. Okay. I'm going to come down here. I'm going to say torch valor dot torch lit plus equals on valor lit. Torch valor dot torch extinguished plus equals on valor extinguished. All right. So it's important that I listen for you extinguishing the fire, just in case you light one, then extinguish it, then go light the other one. It just needs to make sure that both torches are lit before it actually does anything. So let's see here. On valor lit, I guess I would need. Could make it a semaphore, but that seems excessive. So I'm gonna be lazy, and I'm just gonna have a private bool valor lit is equal to false. Private bool courage lit is equal to false. All right. So on valor lit, we're just gonna say valor lit is equal to true, and on valor extinguished, we're just gonna say valor lit is equal to false. Simple as that. And for now, we're not really going to care about anything else, but I am going to go ahead and put some debugs in here to make sure that everything's firing. Debug.log lit. Oops. Debug.log extinguished. Oops. Yeah, semaphore. Oh, like semaphore, not semaphore. I guess. Well, hold on. Is it? I thought it was semaphore. Because I thought there was an A in it. Oh, semaphore? Is that correct, though? Because it is an E with only one consonant after it, or consonant after it. Consonant. I can never say that for some reason. And that kind of makes me think that it would be pronounced semaphore. But I guess I don't know the breakdown of sounds that they show usually with those things. I guess I can test because Google has a thing.
Semaphore.
Oh, it is semaphore. Okay. Well, there you go. You were correct. Huh. It's one of those things where the spelling is completely wrong for how it should sound, I guess. Yeah, it is. What are you talking about? How is English weird? It's not like we spell climb with a letter that's not pronounced or anything. In any case, let's see here. So we're going to go ahead and got to go into debug mode for this real quick. And we're going to drag in torch. I'm going to go ahead and rename that to torch valor. Torch dash valor. All right. And once all this stuff is rigged up roughly, we'll actually go through and make nice custom inspectors so that it's easy for us to adjust this stuff It's just that when we're doing stuff on the fly and we don't know what's going to be in the final field, it's hard to justify having it there. So if I do light, right, take, hold, and light lamp, light with lamp. Uh-oh. Well, that's interesting. We got a null reference. Oh, I forgot. I started to do this and I just completely tuned out of it. I need to have my audio. Audio. Go ahead and add a audio source. I'm going to do play on awake. I'm just going to grab my torch sound effect from the castle. So we're going to go to the castle real quick. Boop. Climby. Yes, that seems right. No reason to look into that any farther. Semáforo. That sounds like a Spanish supervillain. I don't know what his powers would be. Duplicates of himself, maybe? Or maybe, like, arguing amongst himself or something. In any case, let's see. We're just going to go ahead and grab this. This one's fine. Audio. Yeah, that's fine. I'm going to copy that component. Go back to Grove. Oh, yes, and for those of you who noticed the blue textures for a little bit, all of my textures and materials are done with Substance Designer. So it gives it that nice little normal map touch on everything. But at the same time, it also makes things way more complicated than it probably should be. But, you know, what fun is it if you actually take the easy way and do things on time? It's way more interesting if you do things in the most obtuse and annoying way possible. Also, it just makes everything look nicer. Alright, so now we should be good, I think. Wait, no. I did that wrong. We moved this all into fire effect, didn't we? Oh, we should. That's right. So before we actually do that, we'll go ahead and do that. So we're going to move our audio stuff into fire effect. So the audio, I'm going to grab this, and we're going to put it down here. And I guess I should call this cached audio. Yeah, we'll do that. Cached audio. This into cached audio. Go ahead up here. And so we don't even have to worry about that. We just have to turn on our fire effects. Makes things simple. So now our fire logic is basically completely separated from our torch. Our torch just knows that it has things to light on fire, or that it has fire effects that it needs to play, and then it just does those things. All right. Well, thank you very much for stopping by, Claril. It was good talking with you. Feel free to stop by anytime. Hopefully we'll be able to find another thing that I don't know how to pronounce. Let's see. So we want our fire effects. All that stuff is fine. Yeah, I think we're good. All right. We're going to go ahead and let that compile. That means that I'm going to move my audio below fire here. And eventually, there we go. I really wish my compilation didn't take so long. I don't know what's taking so long for it, but it could just be that the project is fairly large at this point. But that can't be right. My project is less than 2 gigabytes. Need to speed up my compilation times. In any case, I think we're good now. So if we... Oh, I lied, actually. Hold on. Almost forgot. We got to tell our stuff to light when it's on fire, or when it's being lit. We need to tell our audio to play. I know how to use words. Alright, so we're going to say cached audio.play. Then down here we're just going to say cached audio.stop. Alright, now we can actually test it. And we should be able to get all of the... We should get the audio playing, we should get the fire effect working, and we should also have the events getting logged. so we can actually see that we're making progress. That would be nice after an hour of a dev stream. All right. God, it's so weird not having any ambience set up for this level yet. It's just so quiet unless you're moving. So hold and light lamp. Oh, that was interesting. Oh, right. I know. Hold and light lamp. There we go. It tried to use the the torch as our subject. So we're gonna say light. If I can spell light. Lamp. Okay, there's our audio and there's our debug at the very bottom there. Sweet. Oh man. This model is so ugly. Ah. Oh well. Just don't look at it. Ugh. So that stuff's working. Let's go ahead and pop over here. Okay. So let's go ahead and do some custom inspector stuff just to make this easier on us. So we're going to open this up. We're going to call this torch courage. All right. Well, thank you for stopping by, WebEx. Is it actually before you go? Is it WebOx or WebEx? Because I want to get the correct pronunciation or pronunciation. I want to pronounce it right. In any case, so we have torch courage. Let's go ahead and duplicate our on valor lit stuff. Move down here. We can get rid of our debugs. We don't need those anymore. Oops. So instead of on valor, we're going to say on courage. Courage. So WebEx, like a lowercase. Don't put emphasis on the O. Okay, so WebEx. I will try to learn the name pronunciation correctly. Pronunciation. There we go. That's what I was trying to do. I was trying to say pronunciation incorrectly and pronunciation. Okay. One day I will learn it. I promise you. I'm terrible at initially saying names, but eventually I do get them. Either way, thank you for stopping by. So we're going to say torch courage dot torch lit plus equals on courage lit torch valor torch, oh, not valor, plus equals on courage extinguished. All right, see you later. So we're going to say, okay, let that compile. Oops. And while that's compiling, we'll go ahead and find all references. Really? I don't have one. Huh, I guess I don't. I probably have one for the Heroes Grove manager, but that's an older version of the class. We're rewriting it. All right then, so I need to make a custom inspector. Yay! So, for those who have never coded custom inspectors, gather around. You're about to see something new. Assuming I can close my folders first. Let's see. I like to close the folders that are not needed at the time. Okay. Just makes it easier to scroll through things. So, let's go ahead and select our Grove. Grab our Grove Manager. I'm just going to go ahead and start adding folders for editors here. Yeah, originally my project organization placed a lot of these level editors in the same folder, but I don't really like that. So I'm probably going to move it to a more sort of a node-based approach where they're just grouped together. So I'm going to say create C# script. I'm going to say Grove Manager Editor. And we're just going to open that up. All right, so we're going to do a custom inspector for this, and I need to make sure that it's in the correct namespace. So text quest. going to say using Unity editor. So this is going to be an editor. And actually, I think I need to say, oh, no, I lied. It's not going to be an editor. It's going to be a level editor. There we go. And then we're going to say using sleepyowl.common.editor. Oops, if I can spell editor. There we go. And at the very top here, we're going to say custom inspector, or custom editor, type of, Grove manager. Okay. Override on enable. Override on inspector GUI. Okay. I guess we don't actually do that. So we're going to say draw script field, then draw, let's see. And you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and peek this. I actually might be able to call on inspect. No, it's just draw base info. Okay, yeah, that's good. So we're going to do that. Do I not call draw verbs? I do not. That's fine. So I probably can just do that. Alright, so we're going to say editor GUI. What am I doing? Serialized object dot update. And at the very end, we're going to say serialized object dot apply modified properties. So these two lines of code here, serialized update or serialized object dot update and serialized object dot apply modified properties, are to ensure that our custom inspector actually loads the correct values and saves the values after you've edited them. If you don't have this apply modified properties call at the end of your onInspector GUI, what happens is you will make adjustments and then the object will have its values changed, but as soon as you hit play, those values will revert. Or if you quit and then load the game or load the project back up, those values will not be saved. And update basically makes sure that it is showing the correct information. So when you open up the inspector, it says, okay, refresh all of these values to be what they actually are. So those are two very important lines of code if you're doing any sort of custom inspector stuff. And typically what I do is I stick them like at the very top, or I stick serialized object.update at the very top, but I don't really need it for draw script field. That's just a nice little convenient thing that I have that draws the Unity script field so that I can easily double click on it instead of having to click on the context menu and then go into that. But normally I would actually stick serialized object.update in front of that, but draw script field is not something that needs to be updated, so it's fine for it to just be there first. Okay. Private void, and we're going to say draw torch info, or Indo. Apparently I can't type. Are you a developer, Ryan? Or hobbyist, or any sort of game development in general? All right, so we're going to say if, hold on, I gotta remember how to do this. Custom editor utility dot draw header. We'll say 1. Thank you. Oh man, I really need to get that working. Senor Kai. Oh, cool. What kind of games do you make? Or mess with, I guess. Then we're going to say new GUI content. We're going to say torch info. What am I doing? This isn't torch info. This is Grove info. And we don't need it to be, you know what, it's fine. I don't think it has to be a GUI content. I could just make it a basic string, but I'll keep it there anyway. Shoot 'em ups and platformers. Nice. Are you talking vertical scrolling shoot 'em ups, twin stick shooters, side scrollers? Sorry to grill you. I like asking people what they develop. So, okay, so all that stuff's fine. We're gonna come up here. We're gonna say draw torch info, and then I'm going to rename that to draw grove info. For some reason, I thought I was drawing, or I was making the torch custom inspector. So I'm going to say rename, draw grove info. All right. And before we go any further, I'm going to go ahead and grab these three things. And we're going to begin making our serialized properties work. So private serialized property. Both third-person games? Ah, okay. Making a platformer right now. So you're doing a third-person platformer, huh? Are you going for more of a Banjo-Kazooie ukulele collectathon platformer, or more like a cloud-built style action platformer thing? Pawn source is equal to serialized object. Oops. Bah. Dot find property. And it's just going to be called pawn source. Copy that 2 times. And that would be the cat wanting attention because she is spoiled. So what I'm doing here is I'm initializing my serialized properties. And these are things that basically are how Unity keeps track of your variables in the inspector. And using serialized, you don't have to use serialized properties. You can just use raw floats or ints or whatever your values are. But using serialized properties lets Unity do the bulk of the work for you because you don't have to, worry about doing undo and all of that. Serialized properties handle all of that for you. So it's a little bit of a learning curve if you're doing custom editors to jump to serialized properties. But in the long term, they save you way more effort than anything else. And now I'm going to rename these. And the way I typically will name my serialized properties is I do the m underscore. Not just an underscore because that's compilation stuff. And that's just to differentiate it so that I know it's not a local property or anything like that. I know that anything with an m underscore is going to be a serialized property. Spelunky style roguelite with Crash Bandicoot and Super Mario 64 controls. Nice. Although that's interesting because those are actually kind of two opposing sides of 3D platforming. With Crash Bandicoot being that, sort of, it's not vertical or horizontal. What do you call that scrolling? Like a rail scroller where you're going into the screen. While Mario was a lot more freeform with its movements. So I'm curious how you're balancing that. Actually, that's kind of an interesting comparison or combination, I guess. 2.5. Well, 2.5D is technically correct, but actually Crash was not 2.5D because you could move forward and left and right. 2.5D, well, I guess, and up. 2.5D is usually when it's a 2D game in everything but models. But I'm trying to think of an example. I feel like some of like New Super Mario Bros., for example, is a 2.5D game in the sense that it's a 3D game that plays along a 2D axis. But Crash technically does actually do 3 dimensions. You can move left, right, forward, back, and up and down. Yeah, I don't really know what a good description for that is. The closest thing I can think of is like Star Fox's rail shooters where you're moving into the screen. In any case, so we're going to go ahead and say editor GUI layout dot begin vertical. We're going to give it a editor styles dot text area. Editor GUI layout dot end vertical. And this is just making our custom inspector look nice. This is going to give us like a subtle box around our inspector. And we're just going to say editor GUI layout dot property field m underscore, let's see, pawn source. Oh, I lied. We don't want that probably. Not first anyway. We're going to say editor GUI layout dot property field m underscore torch valor. Editor GUI layout dot property field m underscore torch courage. And this is the other reason why I use serialized properties is because I can just use a property field call, which will automatically know how to draw it. I don't have to do any complex things. It'll just do it. And I am going to go ahead and just have editor GUI layout dot label field. Oops, new GUI content. We're going to say GUI, or sorry, editor styles dot help box. Yep, there we go. I'm just going to call this audio. All right, we'll let that compile. And now when we look at our Grove manager, we should actually have an extra nice inspector. Yeah, the controls in physics are Super Mario, and the level and design challenge, collectathonness and combat is like Crash, Banjo-Kazooie. All the items that allow you to subvert challenges are Spelunky-like. Okay. Also, if you die, you lose everything. Ah, man. See, I'm just not a huge fan of roguelikes. Mostly because I have really bad luck with audio with any sort of random generation or random numbers. Um, like I know it sounds like the standard complaint when I say I'm not a lucky person, but I am. I do not know anyone else who is unlucky as I am when it comes to die rolls. Like any sort of random number generation for me is horrendous. If I need to score high, I'll get low numbers. If I need to score low, I'll get high numbers. If I'm in a situation where I basically can't lose, I will lose. I just because of that, I can't stand roguelikes because the random generation always ends up biting me somehow, and I just can't overcome it because of how bad it was. But I try. I've tried several times to get into roguelikes, but I just can't do it. I'm just not a very lucky person. In any case, so now we can actually select our grove, and haha, there it is. So now if we wanted to, we can assign our torch script to our other torch, and then we'll be able to drag that in and get our torch courage lit, or, well, set up. So I'm actually going to do the opposite of what we did before. I'm going to duplicate Valor, move this over here. I'm going to rename that to Courage. Drag that up. Select our Grove, just drag that in. And not sure how I feel about that. This is a technique I've been messing with, this label that has like the help box outline. Just because I don't really like the default labels for custom inspectors that are just basically like property fields if you didn't have fields next to them. So I like having this outline for an effect, but I feel like I should have stripes or something in it to make it more visually interesting. Or maybe a darker color. Yeah, that could be good. But I probably should make that a actual like nice editor scripting thing. Which I might do real quick, actually. Because we're already on the subject of custom inspectors. So, let's see. We're going to go to custom editor utility. Go to definition. So custom editor utility is a script that I have written to basically give me a lot of convenience functions. Things like drawing buttons, things like drawing fancy drop downs. So like this drop down that has the triangle toggle next to it, that's a custom inspector thing, or a custom editor utility script. And I would like to add one that's just like a draw bordered label, I guess. So we'll go ahead and say public static void draw bordered label. That's fine. But should I? Yeah, so I don't need it to have a rect position. I'm not going to worry about that. We'll give it one. Rect position. We don't really care about thickness. Color is the only thing we care about. We'll say color. Okay, simple as that. Oh, and I guess I probably should have a GUI content for its label. GUI content label. We're just going to say editor GUI dot label field position, and let's see here, GUI content, we'll say label, and then I think I can say, yep, editor styles dot help box. Simple as that. But now we have to do stuff with our GUI. So we have to say color cached color is equal to GUI.color. Then we're going to say GUI.color is equal to color. Oh, and I lied. It's actually background color that we want. Background color. And GUI.background color is equal to color. And then finally at the end, once we've drawn our label, we're just going to say GUI.background color is equal to cached color. Simple as that. And I am going to go ahead and just do this. Get rid of the position so I don't have to pass it one. If I don't want, I can just say draw bordered label. Editor GUI layout dot get control rect. Yep. Then color and label. Nice. So now if I come back over here to our Grove Manager editor, instead of having this line, I can instead just say custom editor utility dot draw bordered label. Then new GUI. Oh, I probably should move those in reverse. And we'll do that real quick. I'm going to move my label before my color, because I think it makes more sense to have the label first. And we're going to do the same thing here. There we go. Nice and simple. So we're going to say new GUI content, and we'll say audio, followed by color, new color. We'll say 0.5, 0.5, 0.5. There we go. So let's see what that looks like. So you should see this change to like a medium gray. Once it compiles, of course. And during that eternity, I'm going to take a drink. Ta-da! It's just nice to have a little bit of a color breakup to make the inspector not look like this massive, unknowable, large thing that you could never hope to fully glance at. All right, so all of that stuff is in. Let's go ahead and set up the next bit of our logic, which is going to be spawning in our sword. Now, currently the way this is handled is I'm spawning the sword in via the regular item spawning method, but we can't actually do that. Because the sword is a weird little bit of logic. Unlike most items that get spawned in at the start of the level, we don't actually want you to be able to just pull it out. You have to light the 2 torches first. So I can't really spawn it like this. Instead, I need to have a sort of dedicated logic to spawning it. So let's go ahead and I'm going to take this. I'm going to put this here. Instead of audio, we're going to call it sword. Sword puzzle. I don't want to just call it sword. I guess we'll call it shrine. There we go. All right. So now we need to come up here, and I think we're going to need some. We'll need a transform point, which is where the sword is going to spawn, and then we'll need 2 different prefabs: a dummy sword and then a regular sword that you can take. So let's go ahead and we're going to say public transform. Sword spawn public. I think I can just do item. Well, actually, I can probably just do item ID. Template sword, default sword. I guess locked sword. Is equal to item ID dot none. Then public item ID standard sword ID is equal to item ID dot none. Okay. So these are just convenience. Well, I say convenience, but basically these are the IDs for the swords that I need to spawn in, and then I can swap them out once both torches have been lit. So we're going to say, I probably should have a data ID for this, so we're going to say public data ID sword removed is equal to, I guess we'll say ID, is equal to data ID dot none. And these item IDs and data IDs are they're basically enums. They're not quite the same as enums. They're like a weird generative enum that I have that lets me populate it at runtime, basically. But you can essentially think of them as just enum IDs. Do I need anything else for this? I think that's about it. All right. So we're gonna say. Do I want to just have a function? Yeah, I'll just have an extra function here. So we're going to say, come down here, say, actually no, that's a public function. So public functions go first. We're going to say private void check sword spawn. Oh, and actually I almost forgot. I need to have data IDs for when my torches are lit. That is important. Because if I, well, let me think. Yeah, all right. I'll do it through here. I could have the torches manage themselves. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that anyway because if I want my torch code to be portable, I need to have them control themselves. So I was gonna have the Grove manager listen for the torches being lit and then set some data IDs, but I probably should have the torches manage that themselves. So let's see here. I might still end up needing to have those data IDs in the Grove manager, but that's not going to be the only place that they exist. So public data ID lit ID is equal to data ID dot none, and we're going to do tooltips. We're going to say the ID to set to true when this torch is lit. All right. Do we care about anything else? Nope, that is fine. All right. So on ignite, we're going to say torch lit, and we are also going to say session.set bool lit ID true. And we're going to do the same thing, but in reverse down here. So false. Or flare, I guess. False. All right. So now these torches will have persistence. So if I leave the level and then come back, they should stay lit or extinguished based on what they are. Let's go ahead and get rid of some of this extra white space, and we're going to go ahead and I think that's all we need for the torches. So I'm actually going to go ahead and get rid of these fields because we don't need them. We're going to go over here to torch inspector. Comment this out, and we're going to get rid of some of this stuff. So let's see here. Draw torch inspector. Go ahead and say if custom editor. Oh, and that is how I know this is super old. It's not using any of my stuff. Using sleepyowl.common.editor. Say if custom editor utility dot draw header. ID of 1 and a new GUI content. It's going to be torch info. I could. Oh man. No, I won't do that. I was going to say I could make a super crazy custom inspector that actually let you adjust effects for the fire effect. Through the torch inspector itself, and that way you don't have to drill down to the actual fire effect object. But I probably won't do that just because that 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 would be a really, really complicated thing. Like I know how to do it, but it probably wouldn't be that interesting to show you guys. At least not right now. I would need a much cooler thing to show that off with. So, all right, let's go ahead and just plug in our values here. So, we're gonna go ahead and fill this stuff in, and I'm not going to worry about this content stuff. We're just going to use the basic property field. Come back here, can't light. Get rid of all of that. Yeah, man. I hate looking at my old code. I was so naive and young, and I had no idea what I was doing back then. Unlike now, where I'm basically infallible. That is a lie, by the way. I am quite, I don't want to say terrible, but I'm not, oh, right. I was going to say, why are you giving me red squiggles? It's like, oh, yeah, because I haven't actually set these yet. Ta-da! Yeah, I'm still very much learning about a lot of game development stuff. I still can't do really advanced things like shaders, although that's something I would like to learn how to do. But it's very hard to justify doing so just because it's time-consuming and expensive, and there's not a lot of good documentation. And unless I really need it, I'm not good at motivating myself to do it. So I can't just like learn shaders just because I want to. I need to have something that I need to do with shader programming that I cannot do with C# code, which is becoming harder and harder to do. Perfect programming. There's no such thing. Well, I guess there are probably some people out there who are really good programmers. I assume people like John Carmack are probably just immaculate programmers. Okay, we're gonna rename this m_m_ can't light message _fire effects. All right. Let's see. So we're going to do our editor GUI layout dot begin vertical, and then editor GUI layout dot end. Oh yeah, end vertical. Da, da, da. Get some spacing in there to make it look nice. We're going to do editor styles dot text area. That's what gives us our nice little border around everything. And then finally, we're going to have our 2 fields, or our 4 fields. Boop. There we go. So now if we let that compile, and we select one of our torches, we no longer will have this. We'll actually, we'll have mostly that, but we will also now have an extra field for our torch information, anyway. As soon as I can select it. Interesting. Interesting. All right, let's try this again. I also forgot to do this. True. So if you have an array and you're doing custom inspector stuff, you need to make sure that your property field has a comma true here. That means that it'll show children. Okay, so I'm going to make this like 5, I guess. I'm not entirely sure why my inspector is so messed up here. Hello, Scorpio. Oh, don't worry. I'm sure that we'll still be here. I assume we will anyway. Okay, let's try this again. What is going on? Oh, I remember. Right, it's because I was dumb. The way I coded this stuff, instead of having the header stuff in the actual fields here, or in the functions, which I really should have done, I have them wrapped in it. Ugh. So I have to do this. I don't know, not draw buttons. Okay, so I have to do stuff like this. If custom editor utility dot draw header 1, then new GUI content, blah blah blah. Yeah, this was past Chris being stupid. So I'm going to call this, I guess, just object info. And then have you be 2, have you be 5, and we'll just say verbs. So now we should actually have proper drop downs for these. So I can hide them if I want. And ta-da! So now I can collapse those. All right. So we have our fire effects. We have all of our messages. We can light. Lit ID is, we're not going to worry about it for now because I don't think I can actually do anything with it. Well, I have torch 1 lit and torch 2 lit, so I could use those. All right. And that's pretty much it. Do I need anything else? Not really. My only thing right now is that I don't have a good way of transitioning levels. I probably should have a command console that I can type stuff into to warp you around. That certainly would help. So I can't really test the torches staying lit or not staying lit. So let's go ahead and we're going to come up to torch here, and we're going to go to start. So private, oh, I guess not private. Say override start. Oh, good. I don't have a start. So private void start. I'm going to say if session.getBool. Let's see here. We're going to say lit ID. Yeah. Oh, and I guess we can just do this. Ignite. Else. Extinguish. So this way the torch will self-manage, basically. It'll check with session, which is just my class that keeps track of all of the bool values and all of the variables that you've set based on your progress. And it'll say, does session say I should be lit? If so, I'm going to light myself at start, and if not, I'm going to extinguish myself. And again, none of those should actually do anything, because if it's already extinguished, we don't have to worry about it. Nothing will happen, and if it's already lit, it'll already be lit. We don't have to worry about extra events firing or anything like that. So, cat. Jeez. My cat wants so much attention tonight. I don't know what it is. Let's see. I think that's pretty good. All right. So the next thing we need to do is actually get our sword logic working within the Grove Manager. So let's see. Do I need anything else? So we have our spawn point for the sword. We have the IDs for the sword. I am going to put our IDs in for our torches being lit. So public data ID valor lit is equal to data ID dot none. Then public data ID courage lit is equal to data ID dot none. And the reason that I have to have the Grove Manager, what the heck? Oh, right. ID. So the Grove Manager has to know about these IDs so that it can check against them. That way, if you, let's say for some reason you come in, you light the torches, but you don't take the sword, and then you leave the area. When you come back, the Grove Manager needs to be able to check that those 2 torches are lit, and that in that incident where you lit them but didn't take the sword, it needs to swap the swords out on start. If we don't do it that way, then basically what would happen is you would come back, the torches would be lit because they take care of themselves, but then the sword that's in the pedestal would be incorrect. It would be the one that you can't take out. So we have to check against these data IDs whenever the scene starts. Okay, so check sword spawn. Here we are. And what we're going to do here is, so on firing it? Yes, good, I am. So we're going to say you know what? I don't actually even need to have these Valor lit variables anymore. I can just grab everything from session. So I'm still going to I'm going to have the functions because I need them, but I can just call check sword spawn. So we're going to say if session.get bool courage lit ID, and I guess Valor should go before. So session.get bool Valor lit ID, and so if both of those IDs are set to true in the session, then we are going to swap out our sword spawns. And I guess we also need to say and not session dot get bool sword removed ID. Okay, so if you have lit if you have lit the two torches and you have not removed the sword from the stone, then we're going to swap the swords out for the correct sword. So we're going to say, we'll go ahead and say private item ID current sword is equal to item ID dot none. All right, so we're going to say if current sword is equal to standard sword ID, we're going to do something, else we will replace the sword with the fake sword. Or the locked sword, I guess. Okay, taking a drink. So, current sword is equal to standard sword ID. So now we have to swap these things out. So I want to say item database dot right, hold on. I think I need to say global dot get item database, then dot, yeah, there we go, find item. So I need to do all this fun stuff. Really, that gives me an actual item? Hold on. Item database is another thing that I have. Oh, right, it's a prefab, so that's fine. Okay, so we're going to say find item, and I believe I want to say, so locked sword ID. Why are you mad? Okay, give me a second here. Definition. Let's see. I might already just have this. Well, I apparently don't. So we're going to look at this. I don't remember how I was accessing this. Let's see. So item spawn info, find all references. Here we are. Spawn item. Go to definition. All right. There it is. So this is what I want. Boop. All right. So that, and we need to use sleepyowl.comment. Using sleepyowl.comment. Cacao. All right. So we have our pooling system that is going to grab our locked sword ID, and it is going to place it at the sword spawn point. How long do I typically stream? So I stream every Tuesday and Thursday from 7 to either 9 or 10ish. I think the longest I've ever streamed in my entire streaming career has been 4 hours in one streaming setting. But typically it's 2 to 3 hours, just because I like to. I mean, I need a long enough time that I can actually get stuff done. I also stream on Saturday at 3 p.m. and that one is kind of more iffy, but typically it still does tend to hover around 2 hours, just because I'm still doing development on Text Quest, but I'm doing a different avenue of development on it on Saturdays, so it can be a little bit longer or shorter depending on what's happening. So we're gonna say item. I can't call it sword. Uh, mm, uh, mm, mm, Crud. I guess I'll call it locked sword. Is equal to that. Okay. And I'm also, instead of current sword ID, I think I'm actually going to just go ahead and say item is equal to nothing. And then we're going to say current sword dot item ID is equal to standard sword ID. That all is fine. Yeah, I actually don't know how long other developers typically stream for. Um, I'm really bad at watching other people's streams. Mostly because they stream during the day and I am working during the day, and that makes it hard for me to watch. uh, all right, so let's see here. So we have our locked sword now, but now we need to check if we already have a current sword. So we're going to say if... Oh, actually, you know what? We don't even need the locked sword here, I don't think. We can just say current sword is equal to that. And then we'll also say if current sword does not equal null. So if we have a current sword currently, we're actually going to need to recycle it so that we can replace it with the locked sword that you can't pull out. So we're going to say pool manager dot recycle current sword dot game object. All right. And we can do that on one line. Haha. Ta-da. And that's pretty much all we need to do for now. Well, actually, no, that's a lie. I do need braces because I have to do a multi-stage thing here. So when the current sword is the lock sword, the one that you can't pull out of the pedestal, we don't actually care what you do to it because you can't do anything with it. Hello, Scorpio. Welcome back. Today we are working on getting the sword in the stone puzzle to work. Anyway, so if we are replacing the locked sword with the actual takeable sword, we have to listen for the take event to mark our sword taken value to be true. Basically, what I'm saying there is that we need to have event listeners be attached if we are replacing the fake sword with the real sword, and then we need to remove them when we are replacing the real sword with the fake sword. So we're going to go ahead and say, we're going to come down here and we're going to say private void on sword interaction. Okay, and that's going to be an interactive object, no, I don't want to call it that, sword, and a verb. I forget if it's verb type or verb. Either way, this is the event that gets fired whenever you do an interaction with an object. So we get the the object itself that you're interacting with, and then the verb that the interaction was doing. So like examine sword will send an event saying that the sword has been examined. Let's see. Other devs I follow typically stream 1 to 2 hours at a time, but one does 4+ hours, so I'd say you're on the top end as far as session length goes. Hooray! Well, I mean, I like to try and give as much bang for your buck as possible, I guess, or I guess bang for your bits. So how does the puzzle work? The puzzle works by there are 2 torches that you light. Can't really click on this, but you can see it at least. So there are 2 torches that you have to light with your lantern, and once you do that, you'll be able to pull the sword out of the stone. So it's not a complex puzzle by any means, but part of the challenge there is that even though the puzzle seems very basic, you actually need to make sure that it's intuitive enough that players understand they need to light the torches. And I'm pretty confident that people can do that because when I originally playtested Text Quest at my first convention, this was the puzzle they had to solve, and people were pretty good about getting it. So I'm pretty confident that people can do it. Although I have been proven incorrect before on how I have overestimated people in their ability to solve puzzles sometimes. Um, and that's one of the challenges of making a puzzle-based game is that it's very easy to say, well, this puzzle is really easy, and then you find out it's super, or well, it's very obtuse to someone else because they just don't think the same way you do. And obviously, you design the puzzle, so you know the solution. Um, in any case, so we need to say current sword dot on. No, verb success. There we go. Was that correct? It's a verb. Minus equals on sword interaction. Ah, I was. So it does just pass a verb. Passes a indirect or a interactive object and a verb. Hooray! And then we're going to go ahead and do this stuff. So we're going to pretty much do the same thing except in reverse. So we're not going to do this here. And this one actually can be one line long. Current sword is equal to, so instead of lock sword ID, we're going to say standard sword ID. And then at the very end of that, we're going to say current sword dot verb success plus equals on sword interaction. All right, and then we're going to say if verb dot verb is equal to verb type dot take, then we are going to actually do all this stuff. We're going to do current sword on success minus equals sword interaction. We're going to do session dot set bool sword taken or removed, right? Sword removed ID true. All right, so that should set everything up. And we are going to say on start here, if not session dot get bool sword removed ID, then we are going to, actually we can make that one line, we're just going to do check sword spawn. All right. So that should, actually hold on. We're going to say if current sword, crud. Okay. I think Ooh. So I can't actually check against this ID here right now, because when you first come into the level, that's going to be null. The current sword is anyway. So if I tried to do this check right now, it would actually throw a null reference exception. So I need to say if this sword is, well, okay. Actually, I just need to restructure this a little bit. So we're going to grab this, move this down here. So if current sword item ID is equal to sword ID, blah, 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 blah. That's actually not what we care about. Instead, we're going to do this. So we're going to say, no, that won't work. Well, no, this will work. If blah, blah, blah. So we're going to move this actually up in front of the other if, and then make the other if an else. So else. All right. So what's going to happen now is when check sword spawn is called, which is actually going to be called here and here, and we're going to get rid of the extinguished because they are going to do the same thing as valor lit. So we're going to say on valor changed. I don't super like that phrase, but it kind of works, I guess. Changed. Actually, I'm kind of curious, as far as Devstream length goes, what are your opinions on Devstream length? Do you guys like shorter Devstreams? Do you like longer Devstreams? Because I could see benefits of both. And I guess it comes down to the individual streamer. But I actually don't know if my Devstreams are too long or too short. But I guess from what it sounds like, you're saying that most devs, or well, a few devs stream less than I do and a few devs stream more than I do. So I seem to be in the middle. In any case, on valor changed, all that stuff. Oh, I guess I don't want to do that. I just need to change it to on valor changed in general. Okay. If not that. Okay. So if our 2 torches have been lit and we have not removed the sword. Oh, and actually, you know what? I'm going to wrap everything in that. So if we have not removed the sword, then we'll do these spawn checks. So if we haven't removed the sword, we go to the next level, and then if we have lit both torches, the sword that we're going to spawn is the sword that you can actually take, and otherwise we are going to get rid of that sword and spawn in the sword that you cannot take. Do we care about anything else? I think that's good. I think that's all we need to worry about. So I'm going to let that compile. Devstream length, any length is fine with me. For longer streams if they're playing games though. That makes sense. Just because you wouldn't want your entertainment streams to be like 5 minutes. That's too much of a hyperbolic expression. Like 50 minutes, like an hour doesn't seem like very worthwhile. Well, I don't know. More content is better in my eyes. I like to keep a game dev stream going on my second monitor as much as possible. Yeah, I've heard that I make good white noise. I don't know how much of that is true, but I'm sure that I'm very easy to fall asleep to. I don't know if any of you have ever seen Cosmos, the original Cosmos, narrated and hosted by Carl Sagan. But if you're ever having trouble sleeping, go watch that show because his voice is just so soothing, and you can just listen to it for days, and you would just fall asleep each time. In any case, so we're going to go ahead and grab this. We are going to need to add some new fields here for convenience. Well, not convenience, for function. Otherwise, I have to keep doing debug, and I don't like doing that. All right, so we're going to come up here to our Grove Manager. We're going to grab all of that. Grab the data IDs as well. All right. And we're also going to move our pawn source down. I like to try and keep my serialized properties in order, in the same order that I show them, roughly. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do private on everything. And then we got to set everything to be a serialized property. Oops. There we go. I like more content so I can watch the stream. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind doing 3-hour dev streams. I think I'm getting better at doing 3-hour dev streams. In the past, they were very, very exhausting. But I think I'm to the point where 2 to 3 hour dev streams are pretty okay. I'm not really exhausted by the end of it. In any case, let's go ahead and copy this. So we need 2, 4, and 6. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and do a bunch of copy paste. Stuff. It's just kind of how editor scripting works. Ah, dang it. Hit it when I hit Control-C instead of Control-V. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and rename these to use my underscoring because I like consistency. Lock sword ID. And standard sword ID. And there we go. All right, so now we can actually add these fields back in, and we can have it do stuff. So we're going to go ahead and paste those there. And then we have 1, 2. Okay. So let's go ahead and do some copy pasting. Oops. Ah, dang it. Zoomed out. No, I never know if I got it back to the right spot or not. if you hold down Control and scroll, you actually zoom out the text or zoom in. Ah, man, that's gonna bug me. I think that's where it was. Seems right to me. All right. In any case, now we should be able to actually see all those things. So this stuff should update now. We should actually be able to draw or pull in our fields. Ta-da! All right. So now we can go ahead and grab some of our spawn information. So we're going to spawn the sword there. Crud, we only have the one sword, don't we? Yeah. Okay, so I gotta update that. Hooray! So we're gonna go ahead and go to design. Collection items, I believe. Yep, item IDs. All right. So this is how I populate my item IDs. They're also a spreadsheet. They're not a JSON file. They are actually CSVs that I pull down. Well, actually, I don't know if I moved them over to being JSON files. Oh, and apparently I also have that. Hold on. There we go. Let's see here. So I am going to, let's see, I think they're just called item IDs. Yep. Ah, no, I clicked off of Unity while it was compiling. Ah. There we go. Let's look for item IDs. IDs. Okay. Here we are. No, it looks like I did pull it over to JSON. All right then. Well, that's fine with me. So we're going to go to Grove. So we have sword, and we're also going to have locked sword. It's going to have a hash of 61. That's probably fine. So the way my drop-down system works, or my ID system works, is I just have a name, which is the name displayed in the drop-down, and then the hash, which is an integer that's unique, so that you don't get confused. And I have to sneeze. Oh, nope, I had to, and it did that really annoying thing where it went away, but you can still feel it. That's going to bug me. In any case, what is this? Huh. I guess that's a new thing, or a new thing in Google Sheets. They actually tell you the add-ons that you have. Okay. We're going to go to Export Sheet Data, Sidebar. Let's see. Do all sheets, replace existing files. I don't think I want to unwrap single row sheets. I don't want to ignore empty cells. I actually do not recall if I want these to be. Okay, so I don't want to force string values. So, nope. Nope. Export sheet arrays I do want, and I'm going to visualize this just to make sure that everything's correct. Okay, so miscellaneous, castle, yep, all that stuff looks good. So we're going to go ahead and export. And well, while that's exporting, I should go ahead and select this. So show and explore. Download our item IDs. Drag that, replace. Go ahead and delete it. Okay, now we can update this. So this is a list of all of our current items in the game. Well, yes, for the most part. Let's go ahead and refresh that. So now we have one for sword and one for locked sword. So we should be able to come back over here and say locked sword. Oh, wrong thing. That is sword taken. We can keep that. Did I not make one for our standard locked sword ID? Oh, I just don't, I'm not drawing it. Okay. There we go. Locked sword ID. I love it when I do something silly like that. All right. Well, in any case, torch 1 and torch... Well, we almost got it. Compilation got me again. Alright. So, locked sword ID is going to be locked sword. Courage lit ID is going to be just torch 2 lit for now. Let's make sure that these are all correct. Torch 2 lit. Alright. Now, the tricky part is the sword itself. So, I'm going to look for my sword. I do not know, honestly, which is the up-to-date one. I think it's going to be this one, because I'm not really doing weapon scripts. Well, I say that. And yet both of them are in here, which is just wonderful. But I don't think I actually need weapons anymore. Weapons, originally I was going to have like a real-time combat. But I eventually found a much better form of combat for the game. So I don't really make use of the weapon script anymore. Instead, I just have items that can be tagged as weapons, so you can tell it that it's a equipable object, and that it has a combat setting and all that. So we're going to need to actually update this. We've spent a little bit of time in spreadsheets, which I tend to try and avoid for my streams, but it's kind of unavoidable when you're doing item interactions. So we're going to go ahead and go down here. While we're at it, we'll go ahead and duplicate this. So make a copy, because we're going to have to start from scratch on some of this stuff. We'll go to Overworld, Heroes Grove. All right, we're going to open that up, and I'm also going to go to the archive for the sword, just to see what it is. Well, it looks like I had some stuff in here. Okay, so I can probably just take most of this. So we're going to call this... Oh, no! What the heck did I do? There we go. Heroes... we won't do apostrophe. We'll just do sword. If I could spell. In any case. Let's see. So, legendary is, of course, the adjective that most describes our sword. It is a silver object, so it gets a special thing. Okay, let's go to our item. Oh, that's all fine for now. So we're going to get rid of some of our stuff. It's not a container, and it's none of the climbable or door stuff. And it's definitely not a switch. I mean, it's portable like one, I guess, but... terrible pun. Alright, delete. The reason that I have all of these all of these tabs is because I have a template spreadsheet that I use. So this is actually just going to be called sword now. And we'll just call this sword for simplicity. Yeah, simplicity's sake. Type is going to be equipable, I believe. Equip type. Hand. Nope, that is not correct. Okay, I do not recall what equip type is supposed to be. We have item type. Oh, visible. There we go. That's what it is. Yeah, equip type determines how the object is shown on your screen when you have it equipped. So we're going to say visible. It's not a light. Its weight will be 1. Equip for its combat effect. It gets equipped to your hand. Effect amount. I guess we'll call that 1. Equipped. Equipped object name. Unequipped object name. Oops. Dang it. Unequipped object name. There we go. Alright, it's not a map. It is not a weapon. No, it is. I do need this. Um, so it is a slash type. Attack messages. Um, okay, we're gonna do this real quick. Cut, slice. So attack messages are the words that show up when you're in combat and you have this item equipped. And the attack messages have to be set up in a very specific way. And what I mean by that is that you can't have two words that start with the same letter. They all have to start with different letters. Otherwise, it would be unfair, just because of the combat system. So cut, slice, stab. Nope, that's an S. Come on, surely I can get 3. I don't want to say puncture, that's too long. Pierce, maybe? And that's... Can I think of another one really quick? Cut, slice, pierce. Not really. Swing? Nope. Rend would work for tearing, but... Ooh, lunge is good. Yeah, rend I don't think quite works with a sword. Ultra murder. Ultra murder should be a word in the dictionary, though. That would be really, really funny. I think 4 is enough for now. I think typically what I try to do is 5 or 6. We can come up with one more then. So cut, slice, pierce, lunge. What other things do you do with a sword? I guess you could say like fence, but that seems... I don't know. That seems like a bit much. See, I can only think of like swing and slice. All right. Well, thanks for stopping by, Scorpio. Hopefully, what you did get to see was at least somewhat interesting. We're almost, yeah. We should be able to finish it all up in the next probably 20 minutes, I'm guessing. So, all right. You know what? 4 is fine for now until we can come up with a better thing. Now we need to do verbs. So equip and all of this stuff is all fine. Wave, we will actually go ahead and take the old verbs for that. Wave the object name flourish. Thank you, Sky, for another bit. You are continuing to cement your position as the highest spending bit person. Is the end in 20 minutes? Probably-ish, I'm guessing. But then again, given the fact that I've been working on this game for 4 years, I'm clearly not the person to... or I'm not a good person at judging time. But I'm guessing it won't take us much longer, because everything's in place, kind of. So at this point, we just need to make sure that our sword swapping works, and that we spawn in separate swords. And then it should be good, and then that'll be it for the night. And thank you, Ryan, for following. All right. Okay. We'll do default. Oh, that's redirect. We can just keep that for now. Let's see. Examine. Should probably have a response in there if you try to burn it. So we're going to say swords are not known to be flammable. Pretty sure that has 2 M's. Yes, it does. All right. Extinguish, read. We don't want to do anything there. What else do we have here? That's a pretty good one. So we need one for when you hit the sword. Oh, right. That's a really bad pun. That insult is terrible. For those of you who don't know, a foil is another term for a sword, or it's usually a specific type of sword. But that's a really bad pun. Ugh. Okay, I think that's all we need for this, so we can go ahead and pull up our sidebar. Oh, I get it. Okay, so the document add-ons don't happen until I actually open export sheet data. Okay, that makes sense. In any case, so let's see. bad puns where, yeah, the insult for the sword. I'll show it to you when we actually import all of this. So we're going to say replace existing files, although we don't have any other existing files right now. Unwrap single row sheets. Nope. Cell arrays, sheet arrays, and that should be it. So we're going to go ahead and export that. And while that's going on, we are going to... well, we already have it there, so that's fine, I guess. I wonder if I could select dependencies. Nothing really? Nothing that's using it anyway. Nope. Okay. Well, then I'm not going to worry about it too much. I suppose we'll move that into a subfolder. Add nuts to it. Live dangerously. All right, so we're going to call this one sword. We'll just call it sword, I guess. I don't really need to call it anything else because it's a sword. All right, let's go ahead and download sword. Go ahead and show in folder. Oops, wrong button. There we go. Pull that in here. I'm just going to call this one sword. All right, and that is going to have that as its object. And let's go ahead and refresh it. So let's clear our console, make sure I don't have any errors when I update. Ah, dang it, it's not equipable. It must be... Did I spell equipable wrong? Oh, I didn't use two P's. Bah! Okay, gotta fix that real quick. Equipable. Dang it. I used two P's for the longest time. Alright, let's see here. So that's our regular sword now. Let's see. Text color. There it is. Sword. Cool. So now we can duplicate that. We're going to call that sword dash locked. Then we're going to go ahead and duplicate our sword here. Oops, get rid of you. Go back here to you. We're going to duplicate you, make a copy. And we're going to have a separate JSON blob for our fake sword. Open this up. Sword locked. All right, everything else is pretty good. I guess I need to change its descriptions. So it's... I guess I don't need these. So I'm actually going to get rid of the item and the weapon descriptions because it is... The fake sword, the one you can't pick up, is not an item. It's not one that you ever need to carry around. So all of this is just going to say default and then default fail. Oh, I lied. It's not going to say default fail. It's actually going to have to specify that you can't pull it out. So we have to say you pull with all your might, but the sword, we'll say object name, doesn't budge. And we have to wrap that in quotation marks because we have a comma in there. Otherwise, when we export with our JSON stuff, it would separate that into two separate outputs. Let's see, drop. I can probably just have that be you can't do that. And let's see, equip. We'll say the sword is stuck firmly. No. Secure. Wow, that is terrible. Securely in stone. Is that how you spell securely? That is not correct. That cannot be correct. It is. Ugh. I always second guess myself with my spellings. I am terrible with spelling. Unequip. We'll just make that default fail again. Combine as default fail. Oh crud, does that mean my sword is not default fail? Ah, dang it. Default fail, so I have to download that again. I actually could have that be in there. So one of the things that I can do is it's called multiple outputs. So if I actually just do this, show you what I mean. Oh, come on. So I could do comma, oops, paste, comma. There we go. We could do something like it ain't. Or we'll say coming with an apostrophe. We'll just do coming out, brah. There you go. So now when we try to pull this out 3 times, it'll just say it's not coming out. All right, let's see. We can't wave. Boop. Let's see. Light, examine. We'll say touching. Simply touching it fills you with courage because you're not holding it at the time. Let's see. Most people don't hit powerful relics of legend. All that stuff is fine. Okay, I think we're good to go on these. So I'm going to go ahead and close this over here to our downloads. I'm going to get rid of our sword JSON because we're going to have to re-import that stuff. All right, so we're going to try exporting that again. And then we're going to go ahead and open up our sidebar here. Same thing, replace existing files, unwrap single row sheets, cell arrays, sheet arrays, and that should be good. Go ahead and download that. Boop. Go ahead and download that. All right. And I think for this, nope, I don't have it. So I'm going to show this in Explorer. Grab both of these guys, pull them over. Replace files in destination. And we got to update our stuff. All right, so we're going to say, clear that out. Update you. We're going to grab our sword. Okay, update there. Uh-oh. Oh. Wait, what? Did I not specify an item? Oh, right. I know what I did there. Remove this. Interactive object. There we go. That's what we need to do for this. There we go. Yeah, that worked that time. All right. Names, hero sword. Okay. So now, oh, sorry, I just realized that I did a very stupid thing because we're using item IDs. Dang it. Oh, joy. Well, great. Now I have to do all that crap again. So, would it be faster for me to... Dang it. I hate it when I do that. It would be nice if I could... Yeah, copy to. Haha! So copy to recent. Sword locked. And we will... we don't care about the weapon part. So we're just going to leave that in there. So close this, and now I can do this. Haha! So rename. Just call it item. And everything is correct. Yay! Except this one is sword, or I'm sorry, locked sword. Or lorf sword. Lock sword. There we go. So now we can try that again. Let's just go ahead and export that. Get rid of our 2 swords here. Download our file. And everything should be fixed. Let's go ahead and pull this stuff in. Downloads, items, sword locked, place file. Alright, Try that one more time. Item. Okay. Clear that, hit update, and hooray! So all that stuff seems to be correct, which is good. Say nothing there. None. Default. Just, there we go. Get rid of all of our inspector stuff. Okay. I think we are good to try this now. So let's go ahead and we're going to get rid of that. And we're going to come down here and say sword, sword taken, lock sword. Okay, I think we're good. So let's go ahead and give this a try. That didn't work. That didn't work at all. There we go. Oh, I know what it was. It's because I don't have... Yeah, okay. Yep, that was my fault. Item database. Oop. I forgot to assign the locked sword in there as well. There we go. Now we can try that. And it will be perfect. Or I will be quite displeased. Yay! Okay, so now if we were to take... Okay. Let's try lighting the torches. Take, hold and light lamp. Light with lamp. Let's try taking. Take. Okay, it doesn't budge. Light with lamp. And take. Yes! There we go. So we have our puzzle sort of working. I probably should... Oops. Yeah, I probably should check real quick to make sure that if I extinguish one of them, that it doesn't work. I'm pretty confident, but it's working for the most part that we know of. Also, I'm sorry that I just spoiled one of the puzzles for you guys. But I guess that's kind of the danger of you guys tuning in to me doing dev stuff. So take, okay, that didn't work. Oh, right, so if we do take, then take, then take, there you go. There's the, it ain't coming out, brah. I really should do more multiple outputs like that. It's something that a lot of people try, especially in the demo, the first stage. There's a, if you hit the doors, it says a couple more of those and you'll scuff the paint. And I really should make it so that if you keep hitting the door, it actually says the paint is scuffed. And then there's a little, like, scuff on the door. In any case, so I'm going to go ahead and say light with lamp. Dang it! It should have required that I have it equipped, but it apparently didn't. So we're going to say take. Alright, then we're going to say light. Lamp. Alright, so now we know that it'll work, so I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say extinguish. I'm going to try to take it again. Take. Alright, good. Reminds me of Akewood's Philippe text adventure. I don't think I've actually played that. Oh, yeah. There is I guess there are a couple of puzzles that, well, I won't say a couple. There's at least one puzzle in the game that what's the exact wording? It's designed, but it hasn't been implemented yet, so I'm a little fuzzy on it. But it's basically you type like kill, or it's not kill something. It's just like punch something. It's like, are you really going to try to do this with your bare hands? And then if you answer yes, you'll do it, even though it's completely ridiculous what you're doing with your bare hands. So we're going to say light with, or no, we off with lamp. Okay, so that's working. And currently, oh, I can't jump up there. It's too high. That's fine. It's just a placeholder. Oh, I got it. Hurry up. Okay. Yeah, I can't get up there to test that the fire kills me. I don't think that it would right away, but in any case. So now if we try take, all right, and if I hold sword, I bet it won't. Oh no, look at that, it does. So there's our sword, all nice and pretty in my hands. Well, my right hand anyway. All right. Trying to think if I have anything else really to do for this puzzle right now. I mean, I need to populate content for things like the 3 legends here that tell you basically how to do the puzzle. They don't literally tell you, but they tell you what the reliefs say, basically. But that's probably a good spot to end for the night. We got our torches working, even though they're using the terrible, hideous old torches. It's so ugly. Um, and we have our sword pulling stuff working. So yeah, it's a pretty high note to leave off on for the day. And I was right. It was basically exactly 20 minutes later when I predicted it. So that's definitely a good place to end for the day. Let me think. Any announcements? So tomorrow is Friday, and tomorrow is also the day I'm going to Gen Con. But I don't stream on Friday, so it shouldn't affect anything. And I don't think I'll be too exhausted on Saturday to do my dev stream, so we should be back at our regular time on Saturday to do our Saturday dev stream. That'll be 3 p.m. Eastern time, so if you're on the coast. And we'll continue with our custom content stuff that we've been working on Saturday. But for now, I want to thank you all very much for watching. Sky, thank you for being an amazing bit person. And thank you to all the new people who came over from William's stream. So it was a very exciting day for me. Thank you all very much for this. In any case, I want to thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you all next time.